Welcome, everyone, to Nashville Superspeedway. Welcome to the home of AT&T. The AT&T Champ Car World Series Race 6 of 24 runs through Tennessee. A lot of news coming out here in Nashville before this race weekend. AT&T announcing that this is the last year of its sponsorship deal with the Champ Car World Series on home turf here in Nashville. 26 cars looking to grab a win in the concrete jungle that is the 1.3-mile racetrack here in Franklin, Tennessee. Mia Valdez on pole position, Alicia Kovacevic front row is how this field looks at the front of the field. But the ball is in motion. We saw what happened last time out of Texas. BK Glover winning at home for the first time in his career, in his 13-year career. Toyota brought things to life with Team Impulse and Arrowhead Racing. But likewise, Ford up at the front with Cat Devil Racing as expected on top of the Atomic Autosport and the Ludwig Motorsports team. Chevrolet also in the mix. You've got Stephanie Porter Kelly, who qualified P3 here in Nashville, back at the front of the field, the greatest of all time, according to many, trying to go and extend the most wins in history record that she currently maintains. So 3 of the 4, as we mentioned there, manufacturers on the field. Where's Honda in this mix? We're going to go through the race field for the start of this race, and we'll break it all down. As we mentioned, it is Mia Valdez and Alicia Kovacevic front and center here on the race grid. Stephanie Porter Kelly and Sakura Ishibashi sit in row number 2. Wyatt Jones and Kini Kinoshita in row number 3. So the top 6 pretty stacked here to kick off the AT&T 300 in Nashville. It's an all-atomic autosport row 4 with Natalia Velicevic and Evangeline Porter. In that row, the top 10 is earmarked with an all-impulse row. Artem Kozlov and last week's race winner BK Glover in row number 5. They cap out the top 10. Kaige Kobayashi and Nicole Lechty sit in row 6, the defending champion, getting a boost from the development that they've had over the last couple weeks, but outside the top 10 in qualifying 12th. Simona Leroux, her Highlight Racing teammate, just behind her in row 7 alongside Phantom Motors' Catherine Hart. Asher Crane is the highest Honda driver on the field in 15th position alongside another Honda driver in Esther Hofson. So it's Roz Grease and Dragon Motorsports in row 8. Cameron Jackson, row 9, the leader of Dragon Motorsports, starts this race from 17th on the grid alongside Obsidian Racing Team's Bianca Lucero. Andrew Draco returns after being injured earlier this season. Not a great qualifying performance, but it's a learning experience for Andrew Draco coming back here to Nashville for the first time in speed in his own cars. He's inside row 10 alongside Shufan Zhang. Elise Alexander in row 11 alongside Marcus Petrovic. Mateus Michelin and Anastasia Bonsonen in row 12. And then it's Julia Takani, who qualified last but not starting last. Thomas Rogers suffering a grid penalty for an engine failure from Texas. He will start last in 26th on the grid. So a lot to keep in track of here. Again, Ford looks strong. Toyota looks strong. Chevrolet looks like they've had an uptick, but what does that uptick mean in the long run? We're going to find out here tonight as well. Honda seem to be in the middle of nowhere at the moment. Not sure where they stand going into this with only 2 races after tonight. Homestead and Indy before the next upgrade window after Indy going into Nazareth. Huge talking points there. But a celebration of everything that AT&T has done for the World Series over what will be 5 years at the end of this season. They joined at the end of 2020. And they'll be leaving us here in 2024. They will go and sponsor the NAMRA Cup Series in 2025. That was announced today as well. So AT&T still staying a part of the motorsports world, just moving over to Horizon Corporation's newest acquisition. For the field tonight is trying to win at Nashville, what could be the last race at Nashville here at the Superspeedway. After what
Drivers,
was
start your engines.
a very lukewarm race last season, the Command the Fire engines has roared to life here. So the thousands of horsepower on the pit lane will roll out to the racetrack for the first time. And it will be Mia Valdez on pole position for Cat Devil Racing alongside Alicia Kovalkiewicz. Everyone leaving pit lane here. You'll notice the high downforce wings on these cars. It was the low downforce Speedway wings that we used last time we were here. After hearing the complaints of the drivers, they've moved to the high downforce wings, giving it a shot. In trouble immediately for Valdez. The pole sitter of this race will come back down pit lane, and that will move Stephanie Porter-Kelly forward. So Valdez comes down pit lane, and 25 cars take the start. For what should be showtime here in Nashville, 225 laps, 300 miles. It's around and away we go. Green flag in the air, and we're racing in Nashville for the AT&T 300. Porter-Kelly out to an early lead. Still side by side. Through the opening lap. 3 wide, further back. Catherine Hart in the middle. That is Lechty, the 78. On the outside of that 3 wide. It is teammates in the middle, 3 wide. Draco on the 13. And here comes Mia Valdez staying out of the way and shuffling in. Now laps down. And Lechty got the best of the 3 wide situation ahead of the Phantom Motors duo. Porter-Kelly out front, ahead of Jones and Velisevich. Jones still stuck in the outside lane. Ishibashi on the inside. A sea of Fords peppered in with some Toyotas and Chevrolets at the front of this field to kick off the AT&T 300. And here comes Velisevich to the front, potentially around Porter-Kelly. Jones defended with 3rd. Porter-Kelly's opened up the scorecards in the laps led column. Still side by side there through 1 and 2, but Velisevich will get clear. The Atomic Motorsports car front and center. And here comes Ishibashi as well. Ishibashi, Kovalkiewicz, Kenosha, Jones, Artyom Kozlov also in the fray. And keep in mind, that is the 77 of LaRoe. That Red Bull Highlight Racing car in the top 10 ahead of Asher Crane, who's moved up spots. Already spicier than what we saw last year here in Nashville. Still side by side. Velisevich trying to break away. Wyatt Jones looking to make it 3 wide. Will make it 3 wide. Kovalkiewicz in the middle. Porter-Kelly up top. 3 wide to 3 and 4. And Porter-Kelly will not gain out of that. Wyatt Jones up to 3rd. Fords 1, 2, and 3 here in Nashville. Kovalkiewicz 4th. And here comes Simona LaRoe for 5th. Porter-Kelly now beginning to suffer the effects of being on the outside lane with the entire opening stanza here and dropping spots. So the opening of this race is already a little bit spicier than what we had before. But what does the long run of this race look like? We didn't have a lot of time in practice to figure that out. We're figuring that out now. Wyatt Jones looks to the inside of Ishibashi. Ishibashi right to the gearbox of Velisevich. Peeks to the inside, goes to the inside. for the race lead. This was the trouble that we saw in Nashville last year. You couldn't really pass the leader. You can right now, and Ishibashi's doing just that. And they are a lot closer together than what they were last year to kick off this race. Now again, tire wear has to be a consideration as this race goes on. But right now, the Hornet's Nest is wide open. Jones the second. Kovalkiewicz peeking for third. Gonna try to go for third. Gonna try to go 2 for 1. Peeks to the inside of Jones, entering 3. Jones trying to use momentum to keep Kovalkiewicz at bay, and does. Vulicevic still under threat. Here comes Kenosha right behind Kovalkiewicz as well. 2 by 2. There's Leroux, the Swiss Miss. The 77 on the outside of that Red Bull car. Then you see Cameron Jackson. The Hondas have come into play now. They were not playing with the rest of the field in practice, but they are here now. We saw Asher Crane earlier. Now we have Cameron Jackson in the mix. There's Crane still battling right now with a couple of Fords of Andrew Draco. Sorry, that's not Draco. That is BK Glover, the Verizon number 6 on the inside lane. Draco just a couple cars back. But also in this fray, they've all gotten around Porter Kelly. Field is in motion here. Crane looks to the inside of Glover, gets to the inside and gets clear. Looking 3 wide, that is Porter to the inside of Alexander and Leroux. 3 wide for the Atomic Autosport car, but no dice. And you saw that in picture. Jones under threat from Kovalkiewicz for second place. Can't make it happen there. Kenosha trying to stay ahead of Artyom Kozlov, who sends it in massively for 4th place there to 3 and 4. Kozlov making their charge. Forward has already passed Vulicevic. Now they're working on trying to catch up to the top 3. Vulicevic in 5th. Goes right to the inside. Seems a little bit more comfy holding that inside, holding that yellow line. But Kozlov on a charge, on a tear right now. Also keep in mind that number 11 car, Elise Alexander. She's made her way up into the top 10, gotten around both Kenosha and Jackson, former teammates, side by side. Still side by side, Ford and Honda. Kenosha on the back foot here to Jackson. In the early stanza, BK Glover also charging forward. That is the 42 of Kage Kobayashi. Not in the yellow and black, the Corsair colors, but in the Micro Center colors. And there's the other Venter Racing Machine. Petrovic also up several spots. In that GameStop number 21. Draco hanging out to dry there on the outside lane. Being passed now by Lechty and by Crane. Porter and Kenosha now battling. But outside the top 10. Kobayashi in that 10th spot at the moment behind Glover in 9th. Jackson up to 8th. And again, Kovalkiewicz peeks to the inside of Wyatt Jones. Seems like things are stabilized here now that we've gotten through the pretty part of this race. Now it's time to get down to business, the nitty-gritty. Kovalkiewicz, we know that she's more calculated. And there she goes. Works Wyatt Jones up the racetrack through 1 and 2. That's exactly what she wants to do. Work Wyatt Jones up there and keep him up there, entering 3. Thing is with Wyatt Jones, He's got more experience with this racetrack than a lot of others. And he's able to defend like what he's doing right now. He's just got to try to defend around the entire racetrack, and that's where the difficulty comes in, because 1 and 2 is a little bit more difficult. Also keep in mind, look at that FedEx car, that 11 of Alexander. This is her home race. She had a good showing here last year. Trying to amplify that. Kozlov stuck in the outside lane due to Alexander, and now Velisevich is in the fight. 5 cars and a cluster, and it's allowing Ishibashi to go away. And that is not what you want to see. Coming out of 3 and 4 is this entire cluster of cars. As they go all the way around. Turn number 1. Down the back straightaway now. Kovalkiewicz got clear of Wyatt Jones. Alexander trying to do the same. Wyatt Jones stuck on the very far outside. And Alexander racing the 3-time NAMRA Cup Series champion out of turn number 2. Ishibashi leads over Kovalkiewicz in what could be Alexander in 3rd. Here comes the 32 of Kinoshita charging back forward. 2 red and black cars in this field, both of them really close by. Kinoshita 32 in front, that Fujitsu car. Porter the Coca-Cola number 81. Just a couple cars back. All 26 cars still running. Mia Valdez, the pole sitter, a lap down after an electrical issue that they were able to resolve in pit lane. Velisevich to the inside of Kozlov. Natalia Velisevich up to 5th. She's gotten around Kozlov. Kozlov in 6th, trying to stay ahead of the onslaught of Fords coming up forward. Kozlov teammate Glover in the 6th. That Verizon black and white car just behind Kinoshita, also charging forward. Several cars in this fight, and immediately Kovalkiewicz reeled back in Ishibashi. And immediately looks to the inside, down the front straightaway across the line. Ishibashi's led 19 laps in this race so far. Portichelli led 4. And just like that, the Polish ace, Kovalkiewicz, front and center, leading this race ahead of Ishibashi and the hometown favorite driver, Elise Alexander. Nashville zone in 3rd, ahead of Wyatt Jones, ahead of Natalia Velisevich. Artyom Kozlov 6th. Kinoshita 7th. Glover 8th. The 2 Texans once again nose to tail, 8th and 9th. Kobayashi holds on to 10th, ahead of Simona Leroux. The Swiss Miss has been dispatched from the top 10. Marcus Petrovic, an upswing for the 21 team. He is in 12th at the moment, ahead of Portichelli, ahead of Porter, ahead of Lecty and Crane. So keep an eye on the 21 trying to move forward in this race. Staying right there in line with his teammate, which has been a struggle for him the opening stanza of this season. Glover peeks to the inside of the 32 of Kinoshita. Door was closed for a moment. Glover said no. Kept the door open. Looks for a way around Kinoshita. And immediately Kinoshita swings back over under on Glover. Fantastic work so far. Jones still hanging it around the outside, still being a pest for Alexander and Velisevich. Vulicevic will clear. Jones gets right back in line in 5th, prevents Kozlov from taking root, and here he goes. Back to the inside of Vulicevic. The concern now, if you look at the front of the field, Kovalkiewicz beginning to pull clear, and Ishibashi's not been under threat from Alexander or Jones. This was a bad race for Arrowhead Racing last season. A very bad race for them last season. This was Kovalkiewicz's first time at Nashville last year. And Takani still struggling as well, but making her way forward up to 19th after starting 25th. This is where Takani made her debut. Kovalkiewicz learning mightily on how to come back to this racetrack and attack it with a lot of momentum and energy. They are single file still now for the top 7, but Kenosha hunting for more positions, as is Nicole Lecty's also made up spots. That's Simona Leroux, the Red Bull car for Highlight Racing. The TE Connectivity car of Lecty, the Iron Maiden, your defending world champion, also in this group, sitting behind Porticelli and Kobayashi. Lecty staying right ahead of Astra Crane. Still behind Porticelli. Leroux now top 10 and in the fight. Petrovic, look at him, now up in the top 10. And look at this fight here. Kozlov finally getting around Wyatt Jones. Kozlov's also gotten around Vulicevic in the intermediate period. Alexander in 3rd. Got to the gearbox of Ishibashi, but couldn't get further. All 26 cars still running. 25 on the lead lap from Kovalkiewicz to Lechero. Kozlov up to 4th. Trying to find their first win of the season. Glover got his 2 weeks ago in Texas. Rogers opened the season with 2 wins back-to-back. And Kozlov looked strong here last year, too. Wyatt Jones slotting in behind Kenosha and ahead of Glover for a moment. It seems like he has really burnt the right sides of those tires pretty hard at the moment. Trying to stay in the top 10 right now. He has slipped massively down to 7th. As they continue to fight down the back straightaway. Kobayashi also slipping. He's down to 17th. Kenosha still trying to make her way forward, as is Ishibashi, who's closed in on Kovalkiewicz, the race leader. That's being pressured by Alexander. Work is being put in now. One thing that can be said, though, the racing's a lot more intense than it was last year with the low downforce kit. I think the experiment has been overall a success. But still a lot of racing to go here. We are 44 laps completed out of 225 here in Nashville. Pit stops do not appear to be too far away. Looking at about lap 70 for pit stops. Could be sooner if you're some of these drivers like Jones or Kobayashi, who is really struggling. Shufin Zhang had to make a pit stop there. What has happened to the 20 for Dragon Motorsports and Honda? See if we can get any news on that. Shufin Zhang on pit lane at the moment. You saw that 20 car on pit lane. Dragon Motorsports in trouble with one of their cars early on, going laps down. Still stationary on pit lane. Still a good fight so far. Alexander in third, trying to hold off both Kozlov and Velicevic. Kinoshita sitting right there inside the top 6. Ahead of Wyatt Jones, Glover, Jackson, and Petrovic, your top 10. Glover still peeks to the inside. As you see in this battle here, Leroux still fighting for 10th with Petrovic. Just ahead of Portichelli. Then there's Lechty, sitting right now in 13th. Draco 14th, trying to call his way forward. Remember, he started this race down in 19th, so he's already up 5 spots. And the field beginning to spread out a little bit as tire wear begins to take hold here in Nashville. And Petrovic will drop 2 spots. The Serbian down to Leroux and Portichelli. Portichelli beginning her ascent forward once again, attacking Leroux. Chevrolet and Chevrolet here, and it's Portichelli with the advantage at the line. Portichelli looking for a way forward. It's allowing this battle with 8th and 9th to get away because Cameron Jackson has position swapped with Glover. Racing is spread out a little bit here, but pit stops we know are not too far away. It's been green flag, bell to bell so far. Kovalkiewicz front of the field. Ishibashi stays second, Alexander third, Kozlov fourth. Velicevic in fifth, but under pressure from Kinoshita. Kinoshita in the top 6, looking for 5th at the moment. Wyatt Jones has recovered from his slide earlier. He's in 7th. And still very much in the mix. And it's Jackson, Glover, and Portichelli now in the 10th spot, with Petrovic back up to 11th. Draco, Porter, and Takani all have closed in on this battle for what could be around the top 10. Portichelli in 10th at the moment. They have caught back up. There's Esther Hassan also in the fray, and Catherine Hart. And some cars that have fallen off big time. Kobayashi, one of them. There is Michelin. That is Thomas Rogers, who has been stuck mired in traffic. Lucero, a lap down, Mia Valdez, and then Anastasia von Sonnen. Shufin Zhang is back out on track. One car that is not on track is Astra Crane with an engine failure for Honda. So we're down to 25, but it is Astra Crane the first to go. Again, we stay green under all of this. Shufin Zhang 5 laps down at this point in the race. And that is Artem Kozlov under threat from the Slovenian. Filisovic in the 7, looking for 4th. With Kinoshita in tow, here comes Jones under pursuit from Cameron Jackson, who tries driving underneath them and through 1 and 2. They are gridlocked down the back straightaway. Wyatt Jones outside, looking good right now. He's getting back around the 19 of Jackson, who got checked up by the line. Spearheaded by Vilisovic. Several cars side by side here. Porter Kelly back on the charge as well. Here comes Petrovic as well. The shuffling resumes. And Wyatt Jones stuck in the outside lane. Now dealing with Porter Kelly on the inside. Tell we're a critical mass here. Petrovic almost spun Porter Kelly out there through 1 and 2. Porter Kelly hanging on to it. And takes advantage to move up a spot. Wyatt Jones immediately looks right back to the inside, trying to get back around the 3-time champion. And does so. Meanwhile, not too far behind, there is once again BK Glover in the mix. They are trying so hard to pull away. Wyatt Jones back out in front. He's down to 8th place. So he lost another spot there to Jackson. And still under threat here from Porter Kelly. Frantic action here at Nashville, and it's only going to keep increasing as we see green flag pit stops in the horizon. 63 laps completed so far. How much further can they take these Firestone Firehawk tires? This was expected to be a tire-based race, not a fuel-based race. Has that changed for the front runners? And is the rest of the field having to respond? Ishibashi looks to the inside for the race lead. Kovalkiewicz has led 35 laps unanswered. Drives around on the outside lane. Ishibashi keeps the plan on the inside. And it will be Ishibashi taking advantage here. 1, 2, 3. They all go around Kovalkiewicz here, starting with Ishibashi. Now Alexander, the hometown hero. Daughter of the late Michael Alexander, the 2007 world champion. Up to 2nd. Vilisovic in 3rd, maybe. Kovalkiewicz trying to hold on to the podium with a vice grip. But easier said than done. Here comes Kinoshita and Kozlov. Kovalkiewicz needs to figure out this fight hurry and fast, because that door on the inside lane looks set to close. Vilisovic looks for 2nd. And here comes Kovalkiewicz to get right back around Alexander, who got shuffled to the outside lane. Vilisovic to 2nd. Fords 1 and 2. Toyota and Chevrolet duking it out for the last spot on the podium at the moment. But still looking at a green flag pit stop here very shortly. Who blinks first? The undercut will be very, very valuable. We expected it to be by lap 70. It may take a little bit longer. If they're able to save these tires any at all, it would be very helpful at this point. I think that's what Vulicevic has done, is save tire. That could be what Ishibashi's done as well, save some tire. Out into third, Kovalkiewicz, Alexander, Kozlov, Kenosha, and Jackson. It's a 5-car fight here. Kelly looking once again to get around the 25 at Jones. But Jones, being the pest, trying to work his way forward. Trying to work his way around the outside lane, too. And it's working so far for him. He defended that well. Just can't get clear from Kelly. And turns 1 and 2 is the reason why. But he gets the slipstream down the back straightaway from Jackson, so it helps him out into 3 and 4. Like what you just saw right there. Petrovic sending it in on Glover for the 10th spot. Glover held onto it at the line, but he might be losing it here in the next lap. And here comes both the Highlight Racing cars. LaRoe leading Lechty around Porter. And there is Draco in the mix as well. A lot of action, especially in that mid-pack, unrelenting as the mid-pack goes. Up front, Vulicevic has got right back up to Ishibashi's gearbox, looking for a chance at the race lead. Vulicevic led 5 laps already in the ongoing process here as the lead was changing hands. We've had 4 different leaders in this race. Kelly led the opening 4 laps. Went to Ishibashi. Ishibashi got it taken away by Kovalkiewicz. Kovalkiewicz lost it. Then Ishibashi and Vulicevic have handed it back and forth. Kozlov's looking at the gearbox of Kenosha. Kenosha sitting right now 6th. Right now top 5 ahead of Kozlov, who is in 6th. Here comes a car down pit lane. That is Ishibashi. Pit stops have come in. They held off a few laps longer than 70. Got to about lap 76, but the first car is in, and it's Ishibashi. Ishibashi looking for the undercut. Here in Nashville, it gives Vulicevic the race lead over Kovalkiewicz and Alexander, but who else blinks now for pit lane? Alexander and Vulicevic both do. They both peek to the inside lane. Kovalkiewicz back to the race lead, and it's a busy pit entry. So lap 76, the start of the pit window. So when do the next drivers come down pit lane here? Whoa! Kenosha tried to make it down pit lane. Kozlov said, nah. But Kenosha still made it. Somehow, some way. So now it's on the eyes of Kovalkiewicz and company to try to make their pit stop. And Kovalkiewicz in this time, as is Jackson. Artyom Kozlov will now be the race leader. They will take the race lead here on lap number 80. For the first time tonight. The three cars out front. But it is absolutely a free-for-all. Kozlov's going to come in this time. And here comes Porter, Hobson, and it looks like that is also Matthias Michelin. Sakura Ishibashi should inherit the race lead through the pit stop cycle, with the pit window being 76 to 80 laps. Apparently they've extended about 10 laps. Car is leaving pit lane now, and not even a threat for Ishibashi. Lead of this race secured ahead of the 7 of Vulicevic and the 11 of Alexander. Car's coming out of pit lane. Here comes Kenosha around the outside. There's Petrovic looking at a potential top 5 if he can stay in this fight. We'll see how it all recycles out here with pit stops cycling through, but it's a really good place for Petrovic to be, with Kovalkiewicz, Porter Kelly, Jackson are ahead of Kozlov. Really huge mix of cars right there. Only 2 cars a lap down at the moment from what we can see, and that is Valdez, who was a lap down to begin with, and Shufan Zhang, who went 5 laps down for an electrical issue earlier in this race. And Petrovic on the outside lane right now, working against Kovalkiewicz in Arrowhead Racing, trying to catch up to the 32 of Kenosha. But this is Petrovic in 5th place. Obviously, they've had a Cinderella story moment before. Kobayashi won in Melbourne. But Petrovic has had a long, grueling climb, and for the first time all season is seeing daylight. Unfortunately, with a lot of laps left, this could be just the center of the hurricane for Petrovic. He's got to keep his head focused here, but he had an amazing pit stop. That 21 crew did him a massive service, getting him out, and not only in front of Kovalkiewicz and company, but in the top 5. Likewise, great service for Draco's crew, up to the top 10. Rogers up to 9th. Takani in 12th. So some pit stops, teams doing some amazing work here. There's Draco just right in the background there in 10th. That 13 car is in the mix, and firmly so. Ahead of Kozlov and in the top 10. But we know 76 to 80 laps is the window that everyone's looking at now. No surprises here on out. They have done an amazing job so far. In this package, this change that they made, giving the cars more downforce and letting them trim out, has done a phenomenal job. Someone who did not have a really good pit stop, Wyatt Jones, down to 16th. With Leroux, with Glover, there's Matthias Michelin right now sitting in the 14th spot. He's gained several positions on that pit cycle. There is Lachero, there is Hobson, there is Porter, that is Smoke, that is Vulicevic. Vulicevic is out. Vulicevic, the 7 car from 2nd on the grid, is out. Smoke billows from the 7 car, and that slow crawl down pit lane from 2nd on the grid to out of this race. Marcus Petrovic now up to 3rd. There's Alexander on her own in 2nd. Petrovic leads the group. Crane with an engine failure, Vulicevic with an engine failure. Both of them 10th place grid drops in Miami. But Petrovic flying high, 3rd place, trying to catch up now to the hometown hero, Elise Alexander. Look at Cameron Jackson go. He's up to 4th in the top 5. There is Kovalkiewicz now back in the 5th. It is a hornet's nest here from the inside of the top 10, from the podium places out to the outside of the top 10. Takani's in this mix now as well, the 95. And not far away is Michelin. Oh, and wow, Rogers had to really back out of that. Draco defended really well in the 1 and 2. Rogers tried to assert himself on the inside lane. Draco didn't budge, and Rogers lost several spots. Draco, the two-time world champion for a reason. In this mix, and in with a shout to try to battle for a podium spot. He's in the top 10 right now, which is a good first step. Portichelli is as well, and here comes Takani. Everyone walked away from Nashville last season thinking what a dud this race was. Put the big wings on and let them rip, said Champ Car, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. The drivers are being drivers. Here comes Jackson, looking for third. Peeks to the inside. Petrovic tried to shut the door, pinched Jackson down a little bit out of turn 4, but Jackson stays firm. Petrovic now beginning to shuffle backwards here, stuck in the outside lane. Kovacevic, the opportunist, gets the inside of Petrovic there, the 21. But Petrovic trying to hold on to the top 5 if he can. He gets clear, gets right back clear, stays 4th. And Kovacevic can't outdrive herself into that corner because Petrovic is already clear. Importantly, though, this group is catching up to Alexander in a big way. They are catching up massively. Whether it was Petrovic or Jackson leading the charge, they've been gaining ground, not only on Alexander, but on the race leader, too. This group is closing in. Petrovic used the high line to defend for 4th place, and it worked out. Kenosha's looking at the high line, trying to defend 6th place, and it's not working so hot. Draco using the outside lane to defend from Portichelli, it has worked. Has the line shifted a little bit to the outside? Instead of being so tight to the yellow line, cars are making the outside lane work a little bit. Portichelli trying it out now on Takani. And look at that right there. Petrovic got right back around Jackson. Got right back around him and got clear too. So did Kovacevic. Kovacevic peeks to the inside. Doesn't have much of a choice. Jackson's back to the outside lane, just a little bit there. So it does not work for Jackson, but it worked for Kenosha. It worked for Draco. But everyone's got options on the table. And they are all closing in now on Ishibashi. The gap was almost a second and a half. It's now less than a second. They are charging forward. And Petrovic is in this group. Here he goes, battling now with Kovacevic. Both of them right behind Alexander. Ishibashi's led 49 laps in this race. Kovacevic gets around clean. Jackson looks to do the same. Ishibashi saving fuel. That 33 car at the front of the field will not have lost almost half of her gap. 3/4 of a second on her own in clean air. She's got to be saving fuel. She's saving fuel or saving tires. She is saving up her stuff right now because she can. Remember, Ishibashi was the first to blink on that pit cycle. but it paid dividends because she's had the lead for so long in this run already. Alexander, then Kovacevic. Kovacevic looks to the inside now for second place. How much does Alexander fight? Turns out she's going to fight a little bit here on the outside lane. Side by side they go. Meanwhile, Jackson has to deal still with Petrovic. The 21 not going away. We've gotten past lap 100. We're approaching the halfway point, so let's go ahead and go through the field. There is Sakura Ishibashi leading the front of the field here, and the gap is closed down to just under 7/10. Kovacevic looking for a charge forward and getting it. Kovacevic now up to second. Cameron Jackson looking at third. Elise Alexander held second most of this run, but now down in fourth. It's just ahead of the Cinderella story right now at the front of the field. Marcus Petrovic in the top 5. Meanwhile, the frustration from Andrew Draco through qualifying in the beginning of this race may have been unfounded. That 13 car is moving forward. Draco, from 19th on the grid, now sits in the top 10, looking at Kozlov for 6th. And looks to the outside lane. He's made the outside lane work better than anybody else in this group. He went a little too high up there because they were 3 wide. Takani charges forward to take 6th place away, or take 7th place away, but Draco's still top 10 and 8th, and in this fight, ahead of Kenosha, who right now sits top 9, Porter Kelly holds the gate to the top 10. 10th place for Porter Kelly, ahead of Michelin. Teammates there with 10th and 11th for Stryker. And then it's Thomas Rogers, who's gotten himself back into the conversation. 12th ahead of BK Glover. Team Impulse having an up and down day. Esther Hofson sits 14th. There is Wyatt Jones in 15th ahead of Simona LaRoe, just completing that pass. Evangeline Porter, not her day right now in Nashville, sitting in 17th. Bianca Lucero in 18th. 19th, the separate group. It is Captain Hart, Anastasia Sponsonen, and then Nicole Lecty. Mia Valdez, that Pepsi car, a lap down at the moment, and still. Kaige Kobayashi on his own little island. There is Shufin Zhang. But here is the race leaders. They are caught up now. And once again, it is Kovacevic taking the fight to Ishibashi, Cameron Jackson in third. 4 different race leaders in this race. Sorry, 5 different race leaders. Vulasvich out, though. 4 different race leaders still in this race. As the fighting continues on, Kovacevic now has caught up to the 33 of Ishibashi. Now the next agenda past Ishibashi. Easier said than done. And Jackson's going to make it a lot harder. Looks to the inside. He wants a chance at the race lead. He's not had a really good chance at the race lead since Adelaide to kick off the season. Cameron Jackson inspired. BK Glover broke his win the streak last time out 2 weeks ago in Texas. Cameron Jackson wants his hand in the bucket as well. Gets the second. Petrovic beginning to slip backwards a little bit here, but still in the top 10, just losing grip on the top 5. Alexander peeks inside of Kovacevic, wants 3rd place back, wants a podium at home. Ishibashi continues to lead. Artyom Kozlov looking for 4th. This is the Russian and the Polish driver side by side. Julia Takani, that 95 car, and Andrew Draco, the 13, both making their way forward. They've had a really good stint here, and here comes Draco, peeks to the inside of Takani. And Draco charging forward, looking to get around Kovalkiewicz, and almost clears. Actually does get clear there. Oh, 3 wide. Oh, 3 wide. Teammates 3 wide. Kovalkiewicz and Takani on the outside. Porticelli on the very bottom. And Takani said, not taking no for an answer, moving forward regardless. All past 2 absolute greats. Still side by side with Porticelli. When they come around to make a pit stop here around lap 160, this should very easily be the last pit stop of the race. But that's what we're looking like right now. About lap 155 to lap 160 is when the next pit stop window is supposed to open. This group is insane at the moment. Andrew Draco has made his way into the top 5. For a driver that thought his car was not very good entering, he has figured it out. Made a front wing adjustment on that first pit stop, and it sent him to the stars. If you're a fan of the San Francisco native, wake up, because he is back in the fight. 5th, looking at Kozlov in his first race back after being injured in Melbourne. Missed Mexico City, missed out on Texas. Back here in Nashville and looks really strong now. Didn't have a great qualifying car, but has a great race car, and that's where the points are scored. Jackson cannot get around Ishibashi. Alexander peeking to the inside for 2nd. And keep in mind, Alexander's top 10 in points. Often seen over the last couple of years as the third striker car. Right now is the only striker car even sniffing the championship fight right now. And with a drive like this, Alexander continues to sniff championship opportunities right here. 46 points back entering tonight. Schufenjang DNF'd. Sorry, Schufenjang 24th, not DNF'd. But going to lose a lot of time here. She's ahead of Jones, ahead of Elisevich, and ahead of everyone she needs to be ahead of as far as being ahead of Kinoshita, Rogers. Right now being ahead of Kozlov. Kozlov needs a good run as well. As does Kobayashi. Kobayashi not getting it 22nd. And this is a much needed drive for Ishibashi as well. Needed that 33 car to come alive a little bit sooner. Car in pit lane. Who is that? That might be Schufenjang in pit lane. It is the 20th Schufenjang, who was off sequence. So not a threat or a measure to this group. But Schufenjang will lose 2 laps here on the go. Alexander looks to the inside. Can't make it happen there. After doing a fantastic job repelling Kozlov there. And again, we talk about how close the championship conversation was. The top 5 were separated by 18 points entering tonight. And none of the top 5 are having great nights right now. You look at the points leader, Kinoshita in 11th. Wyatt Jones is in 13th there. He's sitting 8th in points. Rogers is in 15th right now. Porter's 14th. Glover's 17th. All of the top 5 struggling right now. Kobayashi, 22nd. This is a race that's closing the championship fight down more and more and more. as this race goes underway. It's been caution-free from bell to bell so far, with less than 100 laps to go at the line. And this seems like a chance to really define what Ishibashi's season could be like at the front of the field. Can't you get that Kodak car back to victory lane, or can Cameron Jackson bring Napa back to victory lane, that 19 car? What about Elise Alexander? Can she win at home? Three drivers very much in the mix. Artyom Kozlov cannot be ignored either. Same can be said for Andrew Draco. Same can be said right now for Giulia Takani. One of two full-time Rookie of the Year contenders. And Takani right now looking good. Defending from Porter Kelly, who's applying a lot of pressure to that 95 car at the moment. Mateus Michelin also doing well in top 8 right now, after not qualifying well in the slightest. There's Marcus Petrovic still in the top 10 and 9th, ahead of Kovalkiewicz and Kinoshita, who has not been able to get around either. Wyatt Jones clawing his way back forward after a terrible pit stop on his first run through pit lane. He was expecting to be a force to be reckoned with here. Now he's stuck having to deal with Esther Hobson and company. But this was the race that was very much a throwaway compared to what we were expecting to see. This was not going to be a race that was indicative of what Indianapolis would be like. This was a race that they needed to figure out, okay, how do we make Nashville work again? This was its own little experiment so far that has worked wonders. Jackson goes for the race lead. The 19 peeks to the inside, trying to take it to the 33. But Ishibashi stays clear. Kozlov charging for third as well, trying to make something happen. Alexander peeks to the outside, charges forward on the outside lane, looking for second place the unorthodox way, and force Cameron to think about it. Kozlov went to the inside of Alexander. Alexander said, let's make lemonade. And it worked out, stayed in third. Teammates now battling. Michelin trying to get around Porter Kelly. And doing a great job so far. Both of them in the top 10. All three striker cars in the top 10 for Chevrolet. And keep an eye again. Petrovic in the top 10 still, closing in. As this group battles, even more battling, because here comes Andrew Draco for fourth. And he's going to get clear for fourth. Draco moves forward. Draco up to fourth, got around Kozlov there. Takani looks to the inside of Michelin, who for a brief moment touched sixth. What a race we have been treated to so far. And we still have under 90 laps to go. Again, another pit window in about 20 to 25 laps is what we're expecting. And that should get them comfortably to the end of this race. A comfortable two-stop event if they can hold on to it. And the field has gotten right back together. This long line, all juking and jiving, trying to make their way forward. Michelin right on the gearbox of Porter Kelly. Once again, trying to find his way forward, but having a good night so far, top 10. Porter Kelly in 7th, Takani 6th, Kozlov 5th. Porter's gotten around Kenosha just outside the top 10. Kenosha's dropped like a rock. There goes Rogers, and Glover could be next to get around the 2022 world champion. The points leader falling backwards. Here comes Andrew Draco for 3rd. Draco looking at 3rd, Takani looking at 5th. They have really closed up here. Ishibashi's pulled away a little bit once more, which has allowed Alexander a little bit of breathing space to begin that chase again. Here comes Jackson back to the inside. Draco tries the pinch. It doesn't work. And they'll stay side by side through 1 and 2. Importantly, Draco stays clear at Takani, so he can recover and go back at it. This has been absolutely stellar so far. And it's all in Ishibashi's rear view mirror. She's led 91 laps so far out of 142. Jackson back up to 3rd, Draco still in 4th. Kozlov under threat, under pressure from Porter Kelly. What a fight we've had so far. Pit stops to within 10 to 15 laps away. And if you're someone like Petrovic, like Wyatt Jones, if you're someone potentially like Artyom Kozlov right now, you're thinking you need the tires. You need some fresh Firestones to get on this car. And that's what they're working on right now. Michelin holding on around the outside from Wyatt Jones. Kozlov behind the 95 at Takani. Battling for 3rd. Once again, it's Draco around, doing the tango with Cameron Jackson. Jackson defended well on the outside that time. And here comes Takani. And here comes Kozlov to the inside of Takani. And gets clear through 4. Ishibashi, Alexander, Jackson, Draco, Takani, top 5. For a moment, Kozlov takes 5th away. Takani wants it back. Porter Kelly in 7th. Petrovic up to 8th. Kovalkiewicz in 9th. 10th is Michelin. Wyatt Jones, for a moment, was close. Now he's been dispatched by Porter and by Hofson. It's been an outstanding fight, bell to bell so far. Last season, this was a wire-to-wire green flag race as well, but a lot more mild compared to what we've seen tonight. Pressure is on, not only on Ishibashi, but on Alexander, on Jackson, on Draco, on Kozlov, on Takani. I would say it's even on Porticelli right now and on Petrovic. Petrovic playing with house money, being in this far up the field in the top 10 on a night where his teammate Kobayashi sits almost a lap down. Petrovic staying right there in line with Porticelli as Jackson looks to dispatch Alexander for second. Once again, they quarrel for the runner-up spot, but they can't quite touch Ishibashi. Alexander fighting tooth and nail at home. On home turf, on home soil, home concrete for Alexander, and she's going to be completely railroaded. Loses second, loses third. There goes Draco onto the podium places. And Alexander will drop down to the 5th spot. Ahead of Takani, but now needing to regroup. Alexander now looking to try to get back around Takani here. Takani uses the outside lane to good effect. Takani to the top 5. But Alexander needs to safeguard the inside lane because pit stops are coming. Pit window is officially open. Ishibashi was the first to blink again. Which gives Jackson the race lead for the first time. And more cars going to come down pit lane. It's a busy time, busy place. Oh, hold on. That is Petrovic that is sent very much into the grass. He had to really check out of that one. That was a giant miscommunication because he was trying to get the pit lane, but he was on the outside lane. Now who's coming in? No one that time, but it checked up the entire field. That was an absolutely wild exchange. Everyone saved it, and Petrovic went for the ride of his life. And he's still not completely out of it. He's still in this group, and here they come down pit lane, and here comes Petrovic this time to stop the bleeding. Alexander leading pit lane now in second place, but distant to Ishibashi. Here comes Cameron Jackson, who stays out once again with the main group. They're trying to get to lap 160. Draco comes in. He'll look for a little bit of an undercut on Jackson. Jackson, Kozlov, Takani stay out. They're all coming this time to pit lane. It all cycles through. Who comes out pit lane this time? Hofson does. This could hand the lead off to Von Soden. So we're getting more race leaders here under the pit stop sequence. Schiffenjang gets around there with fresher tires. Von Soden officially does lead that lap. And he's going to lead another one. No, he decides not to. Decides to immediately just come down pit lane there. This is Petrovic on a little bit of an island. It's up underway for Mia Valdez as well. Car is leaving pit lane. There's Ishibashi, not even close. Who else under threat here? There goes Alexander. Here comes Draco. Another phenomenal pit stop for Draco. Easily third place. Jackson fourth. Here comes another group. And the group stays together. Wyatt Jones, a better second stop. Had an abysmal first stop. The second stop should keep him in the top 10 and in this fight. We'll let it all cycle through here on the timing screen, because Catherine Hart led a lap there, staying out an extra lap. So a lot of the field has led at least one at this point. Sakura Ishibashi is at 102. She is not far away from getting the most laps led points secured in this fight. There's this group, which is very interesting right now. Von Sonen's in it, as is Glover, Hofson, Leroux, and the 88 of Lucero. There's the two of Rogers in this group as well. Trying to figure out where this all shuffles everybody. Because this has been an absolutely wild group to follow here. Looks like Wyatt Jones will end up being in 12th there, just behind the two of Rogers. But in the conversation, after being down as low as 18th on that first pit stop, now staying in this top 12 group, able to fight it back. But this should get everyone to the end of the race pretty comfortably. And this is the big conversation piece. Can anyone catch up to Ishibashi this time? 3 seconds is the gap. Alexander and Draco are the first ones to attempt to do so. And they've got work to do. ...107 laps led now for Ishibashi. And the gap, has it changed significantly? The answer to that question, for the most part, no. A 10th gain for Alexander, but when you're 3 seconds behind, you don't quite have 90 laps or 100 laps to make something happen. We're down to less, 59 laps to go. The percent that you're gaining needs to be a little bit more significant here. It is right now for Draco. Percentage-wise, he is gaining a pretty decent amount, a healthy amount at that. And there's this group, all in a bundle, and Wyatt Jones struggling to keep up with them and stay in that draft. It was a decent pit stop, but not good enough to put him in this group. So right now, with how they're racing, a caution changes everything. Marcus Petrovic, his race went from bad to worse. Spent some extra time on pit lane cleaning grass out the radiator. So he is now down in the 21st position. This is where legends are made, though. There is Artyom Kozlov in the epicenter of all of this right now, sitting 7th in the group. They're trying to catch up right now to Alexander and Draco, and they are eating into Ishibashi's advantage. They have hooked up and they are tangoing towards the front. Gap is now less than 2.3 seconds. 2.1 officially for Alexander is the gap. Ishibashi has officially led half of the race. She has got the most laps led bonus points. A lot of different race leaders so far in this race. Ishibashi's led 113 and counting. 6 laps led for Jackson, 4 laps led for Porter Kelly, 2 laps led for Kozlov, 38 laps led for Kovalkiewicz, 1 lap led for Von Sonen, 1 lap led for Captain Hart, and 6 laps led for Vulicevic. As they fight their way forward. Less than 2 seconds now the gap, and Draco looks for second place. He knows he's faster. But Alexander fighting for something at home. Takani in this mix as well as Jackson, Porter Kelly, Kozlov, Porter, Michelin. There's Rogers in the mix. There's Kovalkiewicz and Wyatt Jones, hoping that they just slinky back to him. Draco looking for second. Gets second place there. How bad did that slow them up, though? It's a really important question. They were just under 2 seconds away. How much time did they lose with Draco getting that second place back? Gap stayed the same. They didn't lose, which was important. But they are fighting, absolutely dogfighting just behind them. Oh, trouble! Captain Hart stopped. Is that a caution? It is not. But Captain Hart, with some sort of mechanical issue, has come to a stop to join our retirement list. What was the malfunction on Captain Hart's car? Draco far outside, 3 wide. Teammates on the inside this time. It's Alexander and Porter Kelly. Jackson up to second. Alexander third, Draco to fourth. And they are 3 wide behind. Porter, Takani, Kovalkiewicz, Michelin, Kozlov, and Rogers all under a blanket. And working to figure out what the issue is with Catherine Lake's car. Why it came to a stop on the apron on the back straightaway. Kozlov driving back and dropping out of the top 10 as a result here. Trying to just find some breathing space in this madness that is in the last 45 laps. Porter Kelly's found a way around Draco. Trying to get clear now out of 4. Sakura Ishibashi leads the way by 1.3 over Cameron Jackson. Stephen Porter Kelly, the 3-time world champion, now sits in the 3rd spot. 46 race wins, looking for a 47th. Looking to begin that route for 50 race wins in her career. Andrew Draco in 4th. Teammates side by side for Arrowhead Racing in 5th. And here comes Michelin. Here comes Alexander as well. 3 wide. It's not the 3 wide we were expecting. Here comes Alexander, the inside lane. Takani loses out. Alexander couldn't gain on that. Action-packed racing from bell to bell. Coming to 41 laps to go. Michelin up to the top 5. And Cameron Jackson and Porter Kelly have a full head of steam right now. Porter Kelly in 3rd. Within a second of Ishibashi, Jackson's up to 2nd. Less than 4/10 away. He's trying to charge forward. Captain Hart confirmed to be out with an engine-related failure. That is 2 Fords out with an engine failure. Asher Crane, a Honda, out with an engine failure as well. All 3 retirements are engine related. Jackson has officially arrived to battle for the race lead. Draco back up to 3rd around Porter Kelly, who stays in 4th. Michelin in 5th. Kovalkiewicz 6th, Alexander 7th, Rogers, Takani, Porter your top 10. Kozlov trying to make her way forward now, trying to get around Porter to get into the top 10. Points entering this race, bottom of your screen. Ishibashi needed a really good night. Right now, does not look like she's going to get it. Right now, sitting battling for 14th with Wyatt Jones. Porter needed a good night. So far, has a chance to get it. So does Rogers. Here we go. Draco looks to 2nd. Throws the car to the inside lane. Jackson trying to use the outside lane to build momentum, but at the front of the field, there's not really a lot that you can cling to other than Ishibashi, and Ishibashi's playing both lanes, as she needs to if you want to try to win this race. Draco gets clear. And now comes Jackson's ascent. He's led them to the promised land. Now can someone actually open the door? Can it be Draco, the 2-time world champion, coming back from injury, frustrated with lack of qualifying pace after starting 19th on the grid? Boy, has he found the race pace. Can it be Cameron Jackson, a winless route dating back to 2018, or Porter Kelly, looking for race win number 47 on her career? Can it be Michelin, trying to go and break a winless route? He's going for 4th place on his teammate. Fastest lap set by Thomas Rogers, a 192.080 mile-an-hour lap. For those looking for seconds, it's 24.995 for Thomas Rogers, who is right now just clinging inside the top 10 at the moment. Alexander's fallen back massively here. but with coming to 32 laps to go, still time to make it back forward. Lap traffic in the way. Coming up, that is Shufan Zhang, the Taiwanese driver. About to go a 4th lap down. Draco peeks to the inside. He's got a chance. He's got a chance. Inside as Zhang comes down pit lane. Draco looks for the race lead with 31 laps to go. He's got clear. Draco's clear. Jackson tries to do the same. Ishibashi, not invincible, drops to 3rd in 1 lap. It's open season for the race win here in Nashville. 32,000 on their feet for the last 30 laps. Draco, the 2-time champion, leads his first race back from injury. But what a fairy tale, because it's Jackson and Michelin 2nd and 3rd, Porticelli 4th. All 4 drivers in this group have not won in quite some time. Draco won at Night City last season. Jackson's not won since 2018. Porticelli just got hooked. Just got hooked and turned, and there may be a flat tire on the 60. There is a flat tire on the 60 after being hooked by Porticelli, after being hooked by Ishibashi. Porticelli eventually makes it back to pit lane, but what a disaster class this has turned into. Porticelli, a tire puncture off the nose of Ishibashi, has let the top 3 walk away and try to decide this amongst themselves with 25 laps to go. This is shaping up to be an all-timer here in Nashville. And we're all invited to it. Draco still leads over Jackson, over Michelin. 3 drivers with a lot to prove and a lot to do here in Tennessee. Jackson leads this race ahead of Draco, ahead of Michelin. These 3 cars have a second between themselves and the front of the field. What a story it's been. The fight continues on. 21 laps to go. 3 cars, nose to tail. Porticelli on fresh tires, back out on track. But a lap down, almost 2. Actually is 2 laps down. Almost 3. And checking up the race leaders, pulling the leaders back into the secondary group. Just when they thought they were away from the chaos, whoa! Jackson sent it in. And Porter County with suspension damage to go alongside that punctured tire from Ishibashi. Does the 60 have a response for the 33? Seems like she's trying to hang with the race leaders here. Michelin is her teammate there, the 99. Could be trying to play an assistance here. "23 cars still running. 20 on the lead lap. Marcus Petrovitz, the last car lead lap at the moment. It is Jackson, Draco, Michelin top 3. What a way to kick off your season recovery drives if you're these 3 drivers at the moment. Michelin looks for second. Draco wants to fight him for it. Jackson has a chance to break away and break a winless drought dating back to New York 2018. What a winless drought it has been for Cameron Jackson. Michelin in the fight. But they've got to catch up to Cameron Jackson if they're going to make this happen, coming to 16 laps to go. Draco wants a chance at it. Going to fight Michelin back on this. Here comes Ishibashi and Takani and company. There's Kovalevich in the mix as well. There's Porter. There's Kozlov. There's Rogers. There's Alexander in the top 10. Esther Hobson in 11th, a little bit more distant. Maya Jones struggling ever since that pit stop. They are all back together. They are all right back together. If Cameron Jackson's going to get this race win, he's going to have to earn it the hard way. They're all back together. Someone can make a charge with time to spare. Michelin holding on to second place. He's trying to win this route, dating all the way back to 2017. Spent some time racing stock cars in the intervening period. Was not full-time champ car all the way through. Last time he finished on the podium like this, he finished second to Ronald Walker at Gateway. He does not want to finish second again. Not like this. Coming to 11 laps to go. It is Jackson, Michelin, Draco. Then a fight between Ishibashi and Takani for fourth. What a wild time we have right now. Coming to 10 laps to go. Draco looking at a chance to get a race win right off of injury after being hurt in Melbourne. Miss Mexico, Miss Texas. Nashville's put on a show. They put in the high downforce wings. A lot of people questioned it, but we have had an absolute barnstorming race. It has been electric bell to bell. And they are closing in on what could be a barnstormer finish. 9 laps to go in Nashville. Draco could not get around Michelin that time. Stays third. Ishibashi's been dispatched from 4th and 5th. Arrowhead Racing 4th and 5th now, and Porter looking for 6th. Kozlov's 7th, looking for a chance to get closer. But Ishibashi's been dispatched and now no longer a threat really right now to win this race. It's about what can Arrowhead do with a 1-2 tandem, teammates in that order. Nerve-wracking is what this is. Coming to 7 laps to go. Jackson leads Michelin still. I don't think Michelin has enough to really tap into to anything to try to pass the 19. Draco, we know can. But they're not going to just allow each other to go by. You got to try to willpower your way through this. 6 to go at the line. Michelin's got to be charging it up. He's got one legitimate shot at this. Takani is charging forward. Broke free of Ishibashi, trying to steal a podium place. In the last 5 laps of this race, Draco beginning to get a move. Looks to the inside. Michelin tries squeezing. Does Draco force the issue anyway? He does. Looking for second place out of 2. Takani on the charge as well. This could be the podium out of the way for Michelin. Because Takani's right on the gearbox of Draco. 4 to go. Draco's not clear yet. He's got to time it right. He's got to time it right. He's got to get clear. He's getting clear. He's clear. Draco to second. Takani looking for third. It's Cameron Jackson with it all in his rearview mirror at the moment. Coming to 3 laps to go. Can Draco get the race win? For the first time with Ford power. Takani clear for third. They battle further back. Kovalkiewicz defending from Porter. Rounding around to 2 laps to go. Cameron Jackson might have enough of a buffer. But Draco will drive his way through it. Talk about winless droughts. BK Glover ended his 6-year winless drought 2 weeks ago at Texas. His fellow Texan, Cameron Jackson, will round turn 4 and see the white flag, trying to do the exact same thing. 1 lap to go, presented by PNC Bank. Draco's got one legitimate opportunity, and it's turn 3. He's got to get really close to Cameron Jackson if he wants a chance at a race win. Down the back straightaway to turn 3 and 4 for the final time. It will not be enough for Draco. Out of 4, Cameron Jackson breaks the win this drought. He wins at Nashville, a thrilling race. Bell to bell, flag to flag. Cameron Jackson, 30 laps led, gets his race win. His first for his own team. Ahead of Andrew Draco and Joya Takani, a first podium in Champ Car race. First career podium for Takani. Ahead of Mateus Michelin and Alicia Kovalkiewicz, top 5. Evangeline Porter, top 6. Ishibashi, Thomas Rogers, Artyom Kozlov, and Elise Alexander, your top 10. They're going to be running at the top of your screen, the full race rundown there. Esther Hofson, 11th. Cuny Kenosha, 12th. Anastasia Sponson recovered to 13th place. Bianca Lucero, 14th. Simona Leroux, BK Glover, 16th. Leroux, 15th. Wyatt Jones in 17th. Nicole Lectie, 18th. Marcus Petrovic and Kaike Kobayashi, the last 2 cars on the lead lap. Teammates finishing together 19th and 20th. Mia Valdez 1 lap down after starting this race, 1 lap down with an electrical issue. Porter Kelly after suffering a flat tire at the hands of Sakura Ishibashi, 3 laps down in 22nd. And Shufin Jang, 23rd, last car finishing in 23rd. Catherine Hart, Natalia Velisovich, and Astor Crane, all of them DNFing because of engine issues. They will have 10-place grid penalties going into the next race at Homestead, Miami. What a race here in Nashville. Last season's race was considered pedestrian, was considered dull. No such thing this time around. They put the high downforce kit on it, and they let them race, and we went caution-free. Flag to flag. Non-stop racing. 2 pit stops. And in the end, it's Cameron Jackson, Andrew Draco, and Julia Takani on the podium for the very first time for Takani's case. Cameron Jackson, a return to victory lane for the first time since New York 2018. And Andrew Draco returning from injury. The old man still got it. P2 for the 13 team after starting 19th on the grid. Didn't have it in qualifying. Had it, though, in the race. An absolutely ecstatic race for the field here tonight. There's more racing like that to come throughout the rest of the spring. Obviously, the next race for the challenge is the Champ Car Challenger Series, the second tier, the national championship from Sonoma Raceway. That is next weekend. For the World Series, here for the AT&T Champ Car World Series, it is at Homestead Miami Speedway, and then it is full sprint to the month of May and the Indianapolis 500, the 111th running of the great spectacle in racing. But what a spectacle we had tonight here in Nashville Superspeedway. This did not disappoint. Horizon hit the formula on the head. And now everyone's got to keep it on the back of their head for next year's race at Nashville, if we get one. This was a contract year for Nashville. Do we get this race again in 2025? We'll find out. But a good argument was made tonight with 20 cars on the lead lap, caution-free racing from bell to bell, 225 laps, and a feel-good race winner once again, 2 races in a row from Glover to Jackson at the front of the field. On behalf of everyone here for ABN Studios, ABN Sports, everyone here for Champ Car, the AT&T Champ Car World Series, Horizon Corporation, and all of its partners, thank you all for tuning in for the AT&T 300 from Tennessee. We'll see you next time out at Sonoma, or if you're in the World Series, we'll see you at Homestead, Miami in 2 weeks' time. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, have fun in the week ahead. We'll see you on track next time. So long, everybody.